Tonight on CTV3 News, Orange Walk resident and the civilian exhibit keeper Mario Bustillos arrested and charged for 10 counts of negligent harm. It all has to do with the laced gummies that were improperly disposed of. Broad daylight robbery in Orange Walk. San Pedrano arrested for the theft of over $30,000 from the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, April 28, 2023.
Special guest in the audience tonight, legendary record executive, Mr. Clive Davis.
My voice is gone.
What?
You start the show tonight. No talking back. I'm your mother.
There's a boy I know. He's the one I dream of.
What's your name again?
Whitney Elizabeth Houston.
Wake up! It's on! It's on! Listen!
How will I know if he really loves me?
My dream, sing what I want to sing, be how I want to be.
I say a prayer with every heartbeat.
Reach as big an audience as I can.
How will I know?
Common criticism of you, your music isn't black enough.
Look, I don't know how to sing black, and I don't know how to sing white either. I know how to sing.
I might have just heard the greatest voice of her generation.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's got to have a hook.
A hook?
Yeah.
I'll give it a hook.
That'll be $50. Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake.
How do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the Jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The Jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The Sleeping Giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe. Be sure. Know your money.
evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Mario Bustillos, the civilian exhibit keeper who threw out the gummies tainted with marijuana, was today officially arrested and charged for 10 counts of negligent harm. The 38-year-old Orange Walk Town resident was ushered into court this afternoon in Belize City, where he was arraigned before Magistrate Denison Manon on 10 counts of negligent harm upon 10 minors who were hospitalized after consuming marijuana-laced gummies, which were improperly disposed of from within the police national exhibit. The incident played out on Tuesday of this week when several students from St. Luke Methodist Primary School in Belize City had to be hospitalized as they were suffering from marijuana intoxication after consuming candy laced with the drug. In the end, a total of 33 children and 7 adults had to be hospitalized after consuming the drug. After police investigation, it was determined that the laced gummies came from within the police evidence exhibit and was improperly disposed of and subsequently found and distributed by other individuals. At the time, Bustillos reportedly told police he disposed of the bags of gummies because they were starting to smell. In court this afternoon, Bustillos was represented by attorney Darrell Bradley, who told the magistrate, quote, "It is the accused's position that these items were disposed in the exhibit room without any label and appeared to be garbage as they were brought in 2 garbage bags and left for a period of time. In the past, items were left there for a while. He would throw them out because at times they smelled. In this case, the items were left for 3 weeks," unquote. Based on the charge that he intentionally caused harm to 10 children who consumed the discarded gummies, Bustillos pled not guilty to all 10 counts. Bail was offered to Bustillos in the sum of $7,000 plus 1 surety of the same or 2 sureties of $3,500 each, which he was able to meet. Conditions of his bail is that Bustillos must report to the Orange Walk Police Station once a week. He is not to be within 100 feet of the victims and or any prosecution witnesses, and he is not to leave the jurisdiction without the permission of the court. With Mario Bustillos now having been charged for his role in the eventual distribution of weed gummies to primary school students, earlier this week, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams also spoke to the origin of those gummies, which they brought into the country in the name of a former police officer who was dismissed from the police department earlier this week for a separate matter.
I know the question would be then, who imported it? And again, we were told by customs that the barrel in which the gummies were imported was imported in the name of one Akim Gamboa. Akim Gamboa was a police officer on interdiction. He has been on interdiction for over 2 years now, following a fight that he had at the Dangrigatong police station about 2 years ago. When we checked with custom today, because normally what would happen when barrels comes in, custom will receive the barrels and then the owners or the person whose name the barrel would have been shipped would go to custom and claim the barrel or whatever goods may have come in. And we checked with custom today, and up to today, the barrel and the other content of the barrel is still at customs and was not claimed. So while yes, the barrel was imported in the name of that individual, no one had gone to claim the barrel at customs. Now, due to the newscast yesterday, there are certain things that we intended to have carried through, but we will no longer be able to do that because of what was said on the news yesterday, and that basically blew what the police had intended to do in terms of a sting operation. That is now gone through the window. Nonetheless, I can say to you that Akim Gamboa was tried in a tribunal and was convicted of that fight in the police station in Dangriga. He was also tried in the magistrate court and was also convicted for that fight. And so today, he was dismissed from the police department, so he is no longer a police officer as of today.
And now, while it is perceived by some factions that the blame should not lie solely upon the exhibit keeper within the department, the compo says if he had followed procedure, all this heartache could have been avoided.
Now, had the exhibit keeper followed the process, i.e., contact his commander, Miss Elwington, to say to her, we have some items here that is really and truly having the exhibit room smelling bad. I would like to seek your permission to have these items discarded. Alifa would have then wrote to me as the commissioner and say, the exhibit keeper is saying XYZ in respect to XYZ. We seek your permission if we can have the items disposed of. I would have sent the team from Benopan to go and inspect the items to make sure that these items are not subject to any investigation, active investigation, or matter before the court. And if I were to be advised that the matter involving these items were still active, I would have said no. If I were to find out that the matter would have been closed and there was no use for them, then I would have said to dispose of them and would have guided them in terms of how to dispose of it. So how now can you say that the commissioner or the minister or the police, we have to be real, right? We have to take things for what they truly are and stop make things more than what they are. We have to be real.
So it's the exhibit keeper that maybe there was a breakdown in communication there. That's what you're saying, sir?
Exactly, and the thing is, the exhibit keeper is not an amateur. He has been there for a number of years. He knows the process, and that is what angers me, right? He knows. And when you know the process and you don't follow the process and things like this happen, then you have to be held accountable.
Despite some calls being made for his removal as Commissioner of Police following this unfortunate incident, the compo says his track record speaks for itself.
1, is crime down?
Seems so.
2, aren't more police officers being held accountable for misconduct?
Of course. Recently, yes.
Good. 3rd question. Aren't we seeing more police officers getting convicted before our courts for breaking the law or whatever? Your director said it last night when he spoke of all the convictions. 4th question. Aren't we having less police brutality accusations compared to before?
No.
Really? You can check the PSP report or the Ombudsman office and they're going to give you the stats that when you compare police brutality reports from 2019 going back to 2019 to present, it is tremendously down by over 50%. So, with all of this, coupled with the fact that even in the criminal courts where civilians are accused of committing heinous crimes such as murder, don't you also see an increase in the murder convictions in our courts? Be honest.
Is that down to you though?
Wait, man, be honest. It has a lot to do with police effectiveness and investigation. So, do you see an increase in convictions? You no longer hear a 3% conviction rate, am I right? And that's simply because there is a very strong cooperation and coordination between the police and the Director of Public Prosecution's office, where the police are getting the proper guidance from the DPP in carrying out investigation, making sure that these files are well put together and presented before the court. Now, with all of those, are you still going to say that the commissioner is ineffective?
Today, the cabinet chaired by Prime Minister John Bresenio met and received a full update on the incident involving candy, confirmed by testing to be laced with marijuana, that was ingested by a number of children and adults. Cabinet commended the excellent work of the doctors, nurses, and other members of staff at the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital, whose swift actions likely resulted in less severe health conditions. A statement from the government of Belize's cabinet brief noted that the Minister of Home Affairs will also bring pressure on the Belize Police Department to ensure that all those involved in this incident be brought to justice. In addition, cabinet determined to go further by looking into the types of food and beverages sold by vendors near school campuses. The Ministry of Education has committed that it will work with educational institutions to ensure ready access to healthier food and beverages for students through the Healthy Start food program. A daring robbery occurred in Orange Walk Town in broad daylight. CTV3 News understands that it happened around 10 a.m. north of the Belize Corozal Road yesterday. Reports say that Aquayo's delivery man, Jeffrey Vega, was on his motorcycle when he observed that two men traveling behind him on a motorcycle were pursuing him. Soon after, the men got close to Vega and the rider in the back grabbed his shirt, which made him lose control, ending on the ground. One of the riders then jumped off his cycle and grabbed the delivery man's knapsack containing $4,816 and made good their escape. For injuries by the fall, Vega was seen by medical officers and later released from the hospital. We understand police managed to recover a portion of the monies and has two men in custody who are being questioned. The investigation is still ongoing. Police have arrested a San Pedro man in connection with an investigation into the theft of over $30,000 from the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority, BSWME. Police said that earlier today, officers formally arrested and charged Antonio Lorenzo Tepas, a 26-year-old Belizean supervisor of DFC area, San Pedro Town, for the crime of theft. Reports are that the operations manager of the BSWNA conducted an audit on Wednesday and found that for the San Pedro branch, a total of $43,000 was collected, but only $12,665 was actually deposited into the account, leaving a missing $30,335. Upon discovering that money was missing, he reported the matter to the police. The money was for tipping fees collected from customers at the San Pedro transfer station. Earlier this week, the Statistical Institute of Belize published its latest statistics on Belize's monthly consumer price index survey, which shows that for the month of March 2023, Belizean households saw the cost of regularly purchased goods and services rise by 6.1% when compared to March of 2022. As food prices continue to rise at an accelerating rate, the category of food and non-alcoholic beverages accounted for almost 3/4 of the national inflation rate for the month. For the month of March 2023, prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages were 16.4% higher than they were in March of last year, the highest inflation rate recorded for this category in 14 years. The food subcategory alone was up by 18.9% for the month, with considerably higher prices being seen across almost all basic food items. These included cereal products such as rice, flour, bread, and tortillas up by 20%. Fresh vegetables, including cabbages, onions, potatoes, sweet peppers, cucumbers, and carrots, up 17.9%. Fruits, including watermelons, bananas, and oranges, were up 28%. The transport category recorded a 3.3% increase for the month, driven primarily by higher prices for passenger transport services, which were 16.3% higher than they were in March of 2022. Prices in the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels category, on the other hand, went down by 1.2% for the month of March 2023 due to a reduction in the cost of LPG. Across all municipalities with an inflation rate of 8.4%, well above the national average, Independence Village recorded the highest rate of increase in consumer prices for March 2023. Consumers in this community saw above average increases in the cost of various food items, restaurant services, laundry products, soaps, detergents, home rentals, personal hygiene products, and taxi fares. In contrast, Belmopan recorded the lowest inflation rate at 4.1%. In Corozal, residents saw an inflation rate of 5.9%, while Orange Walk was 5.7%. Over the one-month period between February 2023 and March 2023, consumer prices rose by 0.7% on average. Food and non-alcoholic beverages saw prices rise by 2.2% in that one-month period, owing to the continued increase in food prices. The year-to-date inflation rate for the first 3 months of 2023 when compared to the same period in 2022 was 6.4%. There was a fire reported today inside the BSI ASR compound. According to official police reports, the blaze came from a towhead truck which was parked near the factory. The owner of the truck was identified as 18-year-old Victor Adil Martinez from the community of San 7 Village, who reported to police that the truck was experiencing mechanical problems and was overheating. Around 1 p.m., an air hose burst and the truck caught on fire. Fire personnel were called out to the area and the fire was extinguished, but not before the truck was completely destroyed. Coming up next, Orange Walk IT Vet hosts 14th Annual Expo and Trade Fair. We have the highlights for you. Stay tuned.
Come on!
When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking or flavors are here. Asadas, bocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, done right and done here.
Done right, done here.
Something's been bothering me a little. I have done all the things a wife is supposed to do. The house, the meals. Where is the payback? I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair?
You two just looked at each other like you got a secret.
I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
What's your dream wedding?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go first. I would wear something really cute, you know? Just festive. But not like white or bridal because you gotta keep them guessing.
You gotta keep them guessing.
And I would walk down the aisle to the song Gloria by Laura Branigan. And of course, in my childhood, I dreamed that I would fly her in to sing it. But now, I have you.
Oh, Joel, you can't touch Branigan.
You can touch Branigan?
No Barbara, no Judy, no Branigan.
Come on.
Gloria, Gloria, I think they've got your number. Gloria, I think they've got the alias. Gloria, that you've been living under, but you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria. Shake 'em, Gloria, Gloria. I think they got your number, Gloria.
Education is the key to achieving full human potential. Access to quality education is the solution for continued growth in economy, social justice and equality, scientific advancement, national integration, and cultural preservation. At the same time, the need for a skilled workforce is in greater demand. Vocational training is the instructional program that prepares one for an occupation that requires a specialized skill. It may involve imparting classroom instructions, hands-on training, or a combination of both. And that is exactly what the Orange Walk IT Vet offers to the future leaders of our country. To date, the institution has won the title of the best IT vet across Belize, and that did not come easy. But with the constant collaborative efforts and events such as the annual Expo and Trade Fair, the institution has gained more exposure over the years. And today, under the stewardship of its manager, Armando Gomez, and his team of instructors, the institution welcomed hundreds of students and members of the public to their 14th Expo and Trade Fair. Dozens of booths were erected for students to demonstrate the skills their instructors have taught them in theory, and Elmer Cornejo was out there getting a hands-on look at all the work created.
As expected, the Orange Walk ITVET Expo and Trade Fair held today did not disappoint. It drew an impressive crowd of visitors, for which the vocational school now coins the event as an all-time success. Booths of every sort were treats to the eyes of spectators who've picked up interest in the many trades offered by the ITVET, which over the years has gained the title of one of the top institutions across the country. But for an event of this magnitude to be successful, it takes collaborative effort, says the manager of the institution, Armando Gomez.
Our day has been super duper. We have had a multitude of people coming here. Almost all the primary schools from the Orange Walk, from Corozal area, a lot of primary schools from the Corozal area have visited us. We have high schools from all around the country, as far as Toledo coming here. We have the Toledo ITVET, the Cayo Set, the Belize ITVET. All of these institutions have come to be a part of our Expo and Trade Fair, and we are extremely grateful for their presence. And I must say today has been extremely good. I believe we will accomplish our goal, which is to showcase what the Orange Walk ITVET is all about, for many to know about what we have. And I am certain that come September, for the new training cycle, we will have a lot more applicants coming to our institution, because of the dynamics that happens at this institution and because of the great team that we have that makes things happen at this institution.
This is our largest marketing event that we have for the institution. It has been a day bubbling, buzzing. The heat has been so nice, if we want to say. So this is a day where all of our trainees showcase what they have learned, what they have done since the start of the training cycle in September up to now. We actually embarked in a nationwide tour where we delivered invitations from the tip of Corozal all the way down south to Toledo. So we've had schools from all over. We've had schools from the Orange Walk district, we've had schools from Corozal, we've had schools, our sister ITVET from Toledo has visited us. Our sister Set from Cayo has been here.
12 trade booths were on display today. Added to that, Year 1, 2, and 3 trainees also promoted their own booths. But at the end, the main goal was the same, to attract prospective ITVET students.
All in all, we have about 15 places that everybody can come and view exactly what our trainees are doing.
What is the interpretation of the students' presentation in relation to what they've been taught in class by their instructors today?
The interpretation is that today the students will be showcasing what they have learned in all the different trade areas that we have to offer. For example, we have electrical, we have carpentry, plumbing, welding, automotive, AC and refrigeration, computer service and repairs, web programming and design, AutoCAD, general construction, home repairs. All of these programs, the trainees have prepared projects that will showcase that they are learning something at this institution and that they are ready in the very near future to be observed in the industry and be productive in the labor force.
And as visitors came and went, trainees showcased what they have learned throughout their track, marketing their skills to business owners who could one day become their employer.
Actually, we are presenting the simulation of a ceiling and piping. This is basically a concept we all need to follow throughout the electrical and the materials we need.
Okay, so what materials you need then?
We need the PVC conduits, octagonal boxes, and when after the casting, we need to put the 2x4 boxes.
Are you confident you can build my house?
Yes. That's why I'm studying the course as the electrician to be prepared.
Le dijimos a los dueños de los vehículos que cuando traigan su carro aquí, BS on brake service. Once que lo levantemos para arriba, podemos hacer la inspección de suspensión, otra vez el brakes, el engine inspection, que es chequeando los fluidos del motor, limpiar lo que se mire decente. Después de cuando se mire eso, se va a hacer un test drive para ver cómo se siente la suspensión, si hay algo malo en ello, porque se podrá ver perfectamente bien, pero a veces los hules por dentro están rompidos. So, se le hace un test drive, como decimos nosotros, junto con mi instructor Felipe Azueta y con mis compañeros aquí. Lo traemos en todo, así cuando el vehículo se le entrega al dueño, se le entrega completamente hecho service, sin, digámoslo así, sin ni un defecto.
And those were the males, but we also spoke to some females who gave it a shot at studying fields dominated by men.
This trade inspired me because I'm the only girl, and I want to show people, women, girls, that they can do it. Yes, and I would love to see more girls, more females, ladies to come to Orange Drug ITVET. To don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. I love this trade.
My project is about carpentry and electrical. I made both of them. Has to do with joints and has to do with assembling. The type of tools I use, and I run the electrical part. I try to use LED, which means that the normal bulbs we use consumes more light. This gives the same brightness, consuming less energy. So LED is a perfect way to adjust to this project. Just run the wires, and that's the best way I could explain it. The process I take is easy. Just measure everything. You have to measure before you do anything. Why? You don't want errors. You have to know the space you're working with. You don't want to buck anything, right? When you do that, you just cut. Make sure you be sanding everything because you're gonna paint it. You don't want the thing to be rough or anything. Sand it one time. When it comes to the kind of joint you want to use, there's different kinds. I use the butt joint. Is the easiest way. You could use screws, you could use nails. The easiest one I use is nail gun. It just assembles. If it has a leak gap, just add some putty, let it dry, sand it, and you're back to your project. Use the back. This could be done with any kind of material. I prefer using a sheet rock. It's easier for me. You just need a special knife, which is a job saw. Cuts it very perfectly. You don't want to make errors. You can make the hole a little bit smaller, then just sand it, adjust it. After that, paint it, add the lights, you're good to go. Add the wires. You just add a switch and it's working.
In the middle of the bustling, we caught up with a team of observers from the Prime Minister's office who told us how imperative today's Expo is for the economic growth of Belize.
As the head of the unit, the Economic Development Council in the Office of the Prime Minister, that's mandated to drive reform and innovation in government service to benefit the private sector. One of the reasons why coming here was important was to be able to see the quality of students and trainees that's coming out of the Orange Walk ITVET system. This is all about opportunities. This is all about feeding into the private sector and private sector growth, and ultimately that leads to economic development. I think it's generally known that the Orange Walk ITVET system is stellar in terms of the quality of people that's coming out of the Orange Walk unit, and that's what we wanted to see, and we want to highlight that, because when you talk about innovation and the type of opportunities that we should be training our people for, I think this is a good example of how to go.
Elmer Cornejo, CTV3 News.
More and more young women and girls are highlighting the importance of access and safety in the ever-growing digital world. Yesterday, the UN celebrated the International Girls in ICT Day, which is observed yearly. This year, the day focused on access and safety, which are key elements to engage the next generation with information and communication technology. Globally, 3 out of 10 tech, science, and technology professionals are women. As per the UN, if women are not able to access the internet and do not feel safe online, then it simply means that women and girls are impeded from developing the necessary digital skills and engage in digital spaces. This, as a result, reduces their opportunities to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-related fields. Belize recognizes the gap and, as a result, arduously rallied for girls to enter a competition that speaks to the importance of girls in ICT. One of this year's participants hails from San Felipe and is only 16 years old. She attends the Belize High School of Agriculture in San Lazaro, and our team traveled there to get her thoughts on the competition, where she secured the first place and cashed in a check of more than $1,000.
I was at my home, then my ICT teacher sent me a message about this competition, and then, well, I was quite into like not getting in, and I was like not trusting in my skills. So okay, okay, I'll do it. Then I started doing my research, and then I didn't find anything. So I thought, what's keeping me back about not being fully engaged in the digital world, right? So I started remembering some of the works that my IT teacher gave us, and then I remember about the web page that he gave us, and that was a lot of programming. I remember I went to sleep at 1:30 a.m. trying to fix and looking what's happening, why is not coming out my web page as I wanted. So I tried and tried until I got what I wanted. So then I said, this involves lots of problem solving, right? IT involves lots of mathematics and all of this stuff. As I said in my video, that some of us girls have that mentality that we are not as good in problem solving as males are. But that is completely wrong, because that's only in our mind, right? But also, we might think that technology is boring, but in my case, it's not boring, because we here experimented new things, robotic cars, started with coding, with the microbit, and started using lots of applications, and that was quite a fun thing.
That fun thing that was passed on to Stephanie Mojica during class time is what molded her decision into submitting her video as a testament that girls can become professionals in what is today a male-dominated ICT field.
I talked about encouraging girls, right, to get fully engaged in the ICT world, technology skills, because we are now getting more into technology things. It's getting more into the 20s, and it's almost everything, it's technology.
What would be your message to young people, to young girls of your age?
Well, to be positive, and trust in yourself, right? Because that's something that sometimes get us like not fully. We start to not believe in ourselves, and as I said, I never thought that I was going to be in the first place to win, but I did it. I thought, well, it was excited. I don't know how to explain how I felt in that moment, but it's just to be brave.
And now that you come back to school, what are your peers saying? What are your friends saying? Your parents?
Well, they're happy for me. They congratulated me, and I think they're as happy as I am.
Technology helps girls and women to communicate in school, stay in touch with friends and relatives, and is a key aspect of their autonomy and future prospects. That is why instructor of ICT at the Belize High School of Agriculture found it necessary to guide and ensure Stephanie Mojica that she had a chance at winning the ICT video competition.
Well, as an instructor, I'm very proud, I'm very proud of her. At first, I did inform Stephanie, to work on this video. And she was like reluctant to work on it, because she said, you know what, it's a lot of work, sir. And especially during these times that they have a lot of work projects to submit. But I did encourage her to do that. And apart from that, I saw, in Stephanie's initiative, like she was very intrigued, interested in it. And she told me, well, yes, let's do this. So we had a very limited amount of time. I know that for her break time, her lunch time, and so forth, she went
and checked with me and everything. She wanted to know about the script, the information, researching on it, and it's based exclusively, I would say, on her own capacity, her strength, her competence and everything, and it was her initiative indeed. And after she decided that yes, we will work on this, we started working diligently with it. And I felt very motivated also because I understood the type of interest that she has took into this, and I understood also that she is interested in ICT careers, whereby currently the vast majority of ICT professionals are males. And it's not all about the win, right? I really like that they engage into ICT and that they enjoy what they're doing and so forth. So whatever I have to teach them and so forth, I will definitely actualize my skills and try to pass it to them so that they can also perform better in that area. Okay. And apart from that, there's an upcoming competition, also project from Samsung Technologies, which is a national and international competition. And we'll see whether we take out a team also and continue with the progression of their skills and competencies in ICT.
For fourth-year student Stephanie Mojica, she plans to continue studying a career in ICT after graduation and is presently involved in the Student Government Association at her school. Earlier this week, the Progressive Sugarcane Producers Association installed 2 Eco-Heart billboards within the association's compound, which were part of this year's Eco-Heart High School competition launched by the Cane Farmer Association and Eco-Hearts. The installation of these billboards, according to Environmental Officer for the PSCPA, Yvette Che Yupit, is geared at sharing the importance of environmental protection with their members and visitors.
And the installation of billboards, the objective of this is for us to seek out awareness to our members of PSCPA. As said before, we need to create awareness to our members because these billboards that is showcasing the high school student showcase help us a lot in complying with our fair trade standards. PCPA is an association that is always seeking to comply with all the fair trade standards. And in section 3.224, it talks about the adaptation and mitigation of climate change. So this helps us a lot as well in creating awareness. As shown in the behind us are the depiction of the heritage sites, and we need to protect our biodiversity as well as no hunting of rare species, because Belize is becoming more aware, and it will help our PCPA members to comply with all the fair trade standards. And last but not least, it helps us in changing our people's perspective in the use of recycling. These, I must applaud the 2 high school students who took the initiative in participating in these, in the Earth Day event, and the theme for this year was invest in our earth, invest in our planet, and so we need to applaud those students, and I hope that next year we can make it a more bigger event, so that more students and schools would participate in such an initiative like these ones.
As farmers, Josepat says that they also must do their part to ensure sustainability and help reduce the harmful effects of climate change in our communities.
En cada zona se les lleva el mensaje y se les ha dicho a los cañeros que si están sembrando más caña normal, se tiene que tumbar montes para poder plantar, pero ha llegado el momento en el que estamos tratando de ver que cómo lo que tienes plantado te dé doble, una manera mejor de cultivar las plantas de caña. Y también estamos tratando de decirles que si hay una área en el que se ha tumbado monte, que pongan una finquita, un orchard. Y eso es bueno, eso es algo que requiere también el estándar de Fair Trade. No solamente destruir, sino también plantar. Y necesitamos de mucha ayuda de la comunidad. Estamos llevando este mensaje a la comunidad y también es como asociación es bueno porque es uno de los estándares de fair trade que necesitamos como asociación para seguir adelante.
As we had previously reported, the Eco Heart posters were created by students of New Hope High School and Belize High School of Agriculture. For this next report, let's take a look at Belize's total exports for the month of March. Statistics show that for the month of March 2023, exports amounted to $30.9 million, a decrease of 36.9% or $18.1 million compared to exports of March 2022, which were valued at $49 million. All major exports saw decreased earnings in March of 2023 when compared to March of 2022. As a result of differing schedules for bulk sugar shipments between this year and last year, earnings from this commodity were down by $13.3 million. Revenues from bananas also fell notably, decreasing by 46%, while earnings from marine products declined by $1.6 million due to reduced quantities of lobster tails being exported, coupled with lower world market prices for both lobster tails and conch. Exports of crude petroleum went down from $1 million in March 2022 to less than $0.2 million in March 2023, while revenues from citrus products declined from just under $6 million to $5.6 million due to smaller exports of orange oil and grapefruit oil. Among the non-traditional exports, earnings from black-eyed peas were down from $1 million in March of last year to $0.4 million in March of this year, while sales of red kidney beans fell from $1.4 million to $1 million. On the other hand, there was a sharp rise in revenues from molasses during the month, from less than $0.1 million in March 2022 to almost $1.8 million in March 2023. Animal feed exports also saw a noteworthy increase, with earnings growing from $4.3 million to $5.4 million. In March of last year, the European Union was the primary destination for Belize's sugar exports. However, due to the significantly lower sugar exports recorded in March of this year, earnings from this region declined by $18 million. Revenues from the United States of America dropped by more than $3 million due to the decrease in exports of lobster tail, coupled with the fact that while orange concentrate and red kidney beans were exported to the United States in March of last year, no such shipments were made to that country in March of this year. Furthermore, the CARICOM region was the recipient of the country's orange concentrate and red kidney bean exports for the month, and as a result, earnings from this region grew from $6.8 million to $8.7 million. Merchandise exports for the period January to March 2023 totaled $78 million, down 20.9% or $20.6 million from that same period last year, when total domestic exports were valued at $98.6 million. Taking a look at Belize's total imports for the month of March 2023, they were valued at $237.8 million, up by 6.4% or $14.3 million from the $223.5 million imported in March of 2022. This increase was primarily due to a substantial rise in the machinery and transport equipment category, which was sufficient to offset a considerable drop in the chemical products category. The category of machinery and transport equipment saw a significant increase for the month, rising by nearly 50% or $19 million from $39.2 million in March 2022 to $58.2 million in March 2023. A surge in imports of diesel and regular fuels resulted in a $5.7 million increase in mineral fuels and lubricants. Additionally, the crude materials category grew by nearly $2 million. And lastly, imports of food and live animals saw an uptick of almost $1.3 million on an account of increased purchase of malt, orange concentrate, and powdered milks. The chemical products category declined by a notable 37% or $11.5 million, mainly due to a considerable reduction in imports of fertilizers, while other manufacturers' purchase of items within the other manufacturers category decreased from 19.1 million in March of 2022 to 17.4 million in March of 2023, as the country imported fewer medical supplies, sensors, and regulators during the month. Merchandise imports for the period January to March 2023 totaled $650.2 million, representing a 4.3% or $26.8 million increase from the same period last year, when imports totaled $623.5 million. Most commodity categories saw increases over the 3-month period, with the only exceptions being commercial-free zones and chemical products, both of which saw notable reductions. In December of 2016, Belize acceded to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC. The government of Belize says that it continues to demonstrate its commitment to implement convention measures to prevent and combat corruption. At Cabinet session today, Cabinet approved the tabling of the Civil Asset Recovery and Unexplained Wealth Order Bill 2023. This legislative initiative will assist in combating corruption and allow the High Court to freeze the assets of persons where those assets were acquired through unlawful means. This will also place the onus on persons whose wealth exceeds their incomes to account to the court for their acquisition. This is a significant move, since the measures will enable the tracing of assets acquired through unlawful means. Cabinet also gave its approval for a $90 million loan through the Saudi Fund for Development on highly concessionary terms for the construction of a 150-bedroom tertiary care university hospital in Belmopan, and approved the updated cruise tourism policy presented by the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. The updated policy seeks to modernize Belize's approach to cruise tourism and commits to promoting inclusive leadership, social equity, cultural integrity, responsible environmental stewardship, economic optimization, product development, and resilient building. The Cabinet also considered and approved the regulations to complement the recent amendment to the Fiscal Incentives Act. These clearly indicate and describe procedures, fees, and penalties. The main points in the amendment of the FI Act include a revised definition of MSME. MSMEs have fewer requirements for applicants requesting an incentive, allow MSMEs to apply for import duty, revenue replacement duty, and excise duty exemption for an import value of not more than $1 million for a period of 4 years and may be extended to 4 more years. Submission of audited financial will only apply to large companies, not MSMEs, or for companies applying for one-off incentive. Public notice procedures of application for fiscal incentives will only apply to large companies, not MSMEs, or for companies applying for one-off incentive. MSMEs can apply for an incentive with the registration of a company name, identification document, registration at the Belize Tax Service, and Bell Trade as an MSME. The enactment of the amendment to the International Limited Liability Company Act to change its name to the Limited Liability Company Act to remove the tax exemption from these companies and to allow Belizeans to be eligible to form these types of companies, which were formerly treated as offshore entities, was also approved. Acceptance was also given for amendments to the Belize Companies Act to tighten disclosure requirements for nominee directors and expand the definition of bearer shares, among other amendments, which are required to meet the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force technical requirements. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, May 2nd, here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, have a safe and blessed Labor Day. Thank you for watching and listening. Good night.